Good morning. Daniel 1 verse 8 reads, "But Daniel resolved that he would not defile himself with the king's food, or with the wine that he drank. Therefore he asked the chief of the eunuchs to allow him not to defile himself." Daniel and his friends decided that there would be a duality to their lives. Yes, they would serve the Babylonians to the best of their ability. They would respond to their Babylonian names. They would study to understand the culture, and they would acquire the language. They would attend the required feasts, which would have included sacrifices to the Babylonian gods. However, alongside this willingness to submit to the Babylonians, they also made the decision to hold fast to their God and that which defined them as His people. They used their Hebrew names together. They prayed to Yahweh. And God had given Israel laws regarding the food which was clean and the food which was unclean. Any food that had been offered to idols was unclean. Daniel and his friends decided to make a stand on this issue. Respectfully, they asked that they be released from eating the meat and drinking the wine that had been part of the king's table offered to idols. Wisely, they chose this one area in which they were to demonstrate that they were not participating in Babylonian worship or submitting to the Babylonian gods. Daniel and his friends were citizens of two kingdoms. As citizens of Babylon, they would go on to positions of influence and power in the kingdom. But first and foremost, they were citizens of Israel. They were God's people. In this duality, there would have been a consistent question which they would have had to ask themselves. Where does being Babylonian and Jewish overlap? And where are they exclusive of each other? Or, to put it another way, when do I operate as a Babylonian and when do I make a stand as a Jew? If we have chosen to follow Jesus as His disciples, we live in a similar duality. We're faced with similar decisions in our day-to-day lives. We're good citizens of our city, our nation, our work. We not only obey the laws, but we seek to serve well. We seek the good of our city, the good of the place that we live in. But we also recognize that we're of a different citizenship as well, one which is often challenged by the life in the kingdom of this world. Immigrants often celebrate customs from their home nations with even more gusto than those back in those nations. They celebrate their feasts. They preserve their cultural meals. We will find it difficult to maintain our duality in a deep and true way without friends who we walk with. The writer of Hebrews reminds us that when our citizenship is in heaven, we're aliens and strangers in this world. We will need to be with other immigrants of heaven regularly, strengthening our sense of identity and calling out God's purposes in each other's lives. But if living in this duality feels like a burden, let's remember that God pours His Spirit into us, filling us with power. We're not alone. God is with us, and we are with one another. So let me ask you this. Where is your citizenship? And how will you live in this duality today? May God speak to you as you consider these things and then go on to pray. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.